Here are questions 7 and 8 on your study guide. I'm doing these two questions together because they both deal with simplifying radicals. So let's see, question 7 says, is the square root of 48 in simplest form? Okay, when I think of a radical being in simplest form, that means that inside that root there are no perfect squares, okay? 48 happens to not be a perfect square. But we're not just looking at the number itself, we're looking at the factors of that number. Is there a way I could rewrite 48 by factoring it? Okay, that means by writing two numbers that multiply to 48, and one of those numbers will be a perfect square. Well, actually, 48 has two perfect square factors. Okay, when I look at 48, I think, okay, well, I can multiply 4 times something to get 48, and 4 is a perfect square, okay? In my previous video on rational versus irrational, I listed the perfect square numbers. Okay, those are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. It keeps going, but these are the ones we need for this problem. And if you're not sure how I got those numbers, go back and check. So 4 is the factor of 48. So I could rewrite this as root 4 times root 12. However, I want to just keep going and check if there's a bigger perfect square, because if I write it like this, 12 is not in simplest form. I'm going to have to simplify twice. I don't want to simplify twice. I want to simplify once and get directly to the most simplified form of this number. So I'm going to continue down my list. Let's see. Is 48 divisible by 9? No. Is it divisible by 16? Yes. If you didn't know that, how would you figure that out? Well, you could have a calculator open with you and take 48 and divide it by 16 and check if you get a whole number. There I have it. I got 3. So that means that 16 times 3 will get me back to 48. So instead of putting 4 times 12, I'm going to choose to use 16 times 3 because that is the biggest perfect square. Okay, I'm not going to move on to 25 because I know 25 times 2 is 50. Okay, I already got past 48, right? 48 is not going to be divisible by bigger numbers than that. So 16 was the biggest perfect square. Okay, so now I'll simplify the square root of 16. How do I simplify the square root of 16? Square root of 16 means what number do I multiply by itself to get 16? And that would be 4. So I have 4 and I have root 3. Root 3 is in simplest form. There are no factors of 3 that I could pull out to simplify this more. So 4 root 3 is the way we would write 48, root 48 in simplest form. So which answer should I choose? I'm going to choose choice A. No, it can be simplified to 4 root 3. Why is that the correct answer? Because it said, is square root of 48 in simplest form? Is it in simplest form? No, it's not. I still could simplify it. So I'm choosing choice A. No, it can be simplified to 4 root 3, which is what I got down here. Okay. Next question also involves simplifying. I did not give you multiple choice. I just said simplify 5 times square root of 32. So once again, I'm thinking about my perfect squares and thinking, which of these numbers is 32 divisible by? Well, 32 is divisible by 4, but it's also divisible by 16 again. Okay, so this one's also a number that has a perfect square factor of 16 because 16 times 2 equals 32. And again, if you didn't know that, you take out your calculator, divide 32 by all these numbers until you see a whole number value. And if you do 32 divided by 16, you'll get 2. So that means I could rewrite 32 as the factors 16 and 2. And notice I'm still keeping the square root. I didn't take the square root yet. I just took that 32, that root 32, and broke it into 2 roots. 16 times 2, root 16 times root 2. And I like to bring down that whole number right away so that I don't forget to multiply this by 5 at the end. Okay, so I have 5 times square root of 16. I could simplify square root of 16 to 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. And then we have times square root of 2. Square root of 2 is in simplest form. There are no factors that I could use to simplify 2. My last step is to take that 5, that whole number that we started with, that 4, that new whole number that we got because we took the root of 16, multiply those together. 5 times 4 is 20, and bring down that root 2. So my simplest form for 5 square root of 32 is actually 20 square root of 2.